Alexandra, welcome to the Popko Project Podcast. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining me. You got some big news.
I do. Yes.
Your project called Echoes is dropping a new album. By the time this airs, the album will be out. So if you're watching or listening to this, stop doing that. Go stream that. Go buy that. Do whatever you got to do, and then come back and hear Alexandra talk about the record.
Thank you. This feels like we're doing an interview with like my future self. I'm excited.
This is the future.
This is the future. Yeah.
So, really quick before we jumped on, you said that you had evacuated because of the fires in LA. That
Yes.
I mean, I've never been that far west. I'm on the East Coast, Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, PA. I think the furthest west I've ever got was like Colorado.
Wow.
So, I mean, I've seen, obviously we've all seen images of that. That must have been crazy.
Yes, I didn't have any service at all. And so I somehow slept through everything. And I finally woke up at like 6 a.m. on, I think it was Monday, last Monday. Honestly, time does not feel real right now. It actually might have been Tuesday. And one of my best friends was watching the news and was like, hey, you need to leave. And it was like probably one of the most terrifying things I've experienced. I walked outside, the gate was down. There was like so much wind and my body was just like, just go. So I immediately just left. And I know that's a privilege to have somewhere to go. I have family about 6 hours north of Los Angeles. So I got to go be with them. But yeah, it is just absolutely devastating. Although seeing the community come together is really, really inspiring, and seeing everyone just put all of their energy and effort towards healing and donating. And it's just like, and the firefighters, oh my God. Like,
Yeah. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. I really can't. Now, where you were, was that, did it eventually get ruined by fire or?
My apartment is still standing and it is okay, but a lot of the neighborhoods around me are not okay. And I have been feeling awful that I can't go and be there in person to help. I have really bad asthma, so I can't be in poor air quality or it'll trigger asthma attacks. So
Sure.
I'm trying to do everything that I can from afar with donating and spreading the word. At the end of this, I can talk more about, I'm going to be doing a t-shirt where all the proceeds, an Echoes shirt, all the proceeds will go towards helping people rebuild from these fires. So it is honestly like, I'm still in shock. I've never experienced anything like this, and it's just absolutely devastating.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't imagine. And I wish everyone the best, and hopefully it's a quick rebound. I mean, I don't know how you get quick from all that devastation, but
yeah, so I've been feeling really torn of like promoting an album at the same time. So I want to use my platform to also promote ways that you can donate and help people, because that just feels right to do at this time.
Of course. Well, if you give me that link, I will share it in the description and all that kind of stuff too. And I'll help however I can. But on the positive side, we'll talk about this new album titled Quiet in Your Service. I don't know you at all, obviously. But I feel like from the things I try not to do too much research prior to these, because I want to do the organic fact finding, right? But I feel like stuff that I've seen and some of the music, I feel like the title of that album has kind of a purpose or a meaning behind it. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yes. Sorry, my brain is a little fuzzy today.
Okay.
Yes. So as time has gone on and I talk more about this, I feel like you can apply it to multiple things in your life, making yourself quiet in service of other things. And for me, this was a relationship. And I think that being quiet in service of a relationship or of a job or of a situation or, a family member, something along those lines, like if you're making yourself small in service of another person or thing, you're not living your truth, and you're not using your voice because you're afraid to maybe speak up for something that you believe in or something that you're going through. And so this record was kind of a testament for me to stop doing that. I'm an ex-people pleaser, and I'm trying to not make myself small or quiet in service of that thing anymore.
And I would imagine a lot of the songs are around that subject matter as well.
Yep. And again, as time has gone on and I've gotten distance from things, I'm like, whoa, this is about, what started as a very toxic relationship. I'm like, as I'm getting older and I'm moving through it, I'm like, this is also about, a decision that I was trying to make, or something that I was in, like an experience that I was in with a job. And it's like, I think a lot of us make ourselves, again, quiet in service of, out of fear, making yourself small, not, standing in your truth. So my hopes is that anyone who hears this record, they don't feel alone in that, and that it can inspire you to not make yourself small anymore.
Why do you think we do that? I mean, like as human beings, like we tend to do that more than we should.
Yeah, I always did that out of fear of whoever or whatever it is that I'm experiencing going away.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So if it was a toxic relationship, I didn't want to speak up for how I was feeling in fear that that person would leave. Or if it was something, within my creative work or any of my jobs that I've done, it's like you're afraid you're not going to have that thing anymore.
Right.
And it's important to make sure that you are standing in that truth and, saying what you feel. And even if that person or thing or whatever it is goes away, it wasn't meant for you in the first place.
Yeah, it's funny how we do that to ourselves.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not funny.
I think it's human nature.
Yeah, you live in the fear of loss. I mean, people do that in relationships and personal lives, even like business. Like, I'm in sales full time. So like, a lot of salespeople live in the fear of loss. Like, oh my God, like you have this account or whatever, like, you live in this fear of loss. Like, what if I lose this? Yeah, it just, I don't know why we do that to ourselves.
I think it's because we want to belong. And I think that when you're living in the fear of loss, you're living in that state of like, what if I don't belong anymore? I think that's like the human, like the core of being a human is you want to belong and you want to feel seen. So,
yeah, I mean, we want to be part of tribes, right?
Yeah. And I also feel like maybe that fear of loss, at one point in my life protected me and now it doesn't anymore. And I'm like learning how to let that go. And so for me, this record was like a space where I just really got to let all of that go and learn how to speak my truth and how to just be all that I can be instead of being quiet in service of pain.
And how does that feel?
It feels really good. I feel like I keep saying in all my interviews, so I know I'm a broken record, but I turned 31 last year, and
boy.
entering my 30s is such a different perspective on life, and I feel like I just finally have this self-love that I've never had before. And when you can love yourself, you make decisions based off of that versus based out of that fear of loss, right?
Yeah.
And so I no longer feel like I have to make myself small to like fit into other people's molds of what they want me to be.
I feel like that's a common theme now too. And I don't know if it's, the period of time or what it might be, but I feel like people are finally embracing this type of thinking that you have now and just kind of breaking themselves away from, past trauma and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know if it's because mental health is such a big thing now and the acknowledgement of it and the people accepting that, like therapy and forms of help isn't a negative thing.
Yeah, I'm so grateful that mental health is a widely accepted, topic now versus even when I was like in middle school. It was like just becoming, okay to talk about. And even things like I struggle with severe ADHD. Like I didn't even know that I had it really or what it was up until I'd say even the last 5 years is when it became more of a normalized topic, at least from my perspective. So
yeah, try being my age. I'm 42, so like, my younger years, it was just like you push it down, like just ignore it. Just
Yep. It's horrible because I think if we would have all known these things, earlier on, we'd have a lot more self-acceptance and self-love, and we wouldn't be like so judgmental and again make ourselves feel like we have to fit into a mold.
Yeah, I mean, even the generation before me, and then obviously before that, it was like that was. You never talked about your feelings. Like then I think that, families, especially fathers, I think a lot of times, they were very much a father figure. They weren't very, they didn't communicate a lot. They didn't express that. And then obviously it gets passed down. So, as the generations go forward, I think we're we're making a lot of strides, and that family unit kind of helps kind of break those barriers, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
I fully agree. I feel like it's when I could go on a rabbit hole of the mental health thing and thinking about like even my grandparents and their, parents, and how like none of this stuff was widely talked about, and like how beautiful it is that, you know, it's a thing that I'm even able to talk about now, like it's just, it's cool how widely accepted it is. And I definitely try to be a voice of that for my fan base and community. We're very big on being open about mental health. I think it's a very important conversation.
Well, that's huge too, because I mean, I say on this podcast a lot because there's a lot of musicians and them writing about certain things in their music, and like, what does it mean to you to be able to take what you've gone through, put it into music, and then that's really help other people?
Yeah, I always say that it helps me feel less alone. Like that's why I create music in the first place. Like even when I started, writing little poems and songs when I was younger, it was a catharsis for me. It was to make myself feel better because I felt so alone. And now that I have echoes, it's like I feel like I can say all these things that I'm feeling, and then my fans are like, "Oh, hey, we feel that way too." And it in turn makes me feel less alone in a
Right.
completely new way, so it's really, really powerful. And people share their stories with me, and they share their stories with each other, and I'm grateful that I even have the space to not only heal myself but help others again feel less alone in these emotions. So it's very surreal.
Yeah, I can't imagine what that's like. But I always say that there's people that are put on this earth to do certain things, and those who are musicians and creatives, I think are like yourself, like you're put here to help people along the way while also helping yourself too.
Yeah, I've always felt that like that's my main goal here on earth, is to be able to like transmute whatever pain that I'm feeling and regurgitate it into this, healing sonic form that heals me. And again, I always say this in every interview. Like I always knew that I wanted to do this, but I never thought that it would like get this far. And it still is like crazy to me when people are like, "Hey, your music, helped me." Cause it's just, this all starts, on the floor in my bedroom in a notebook. And to know that it goes outside of that is just like, it blows my mind.
Yeah, everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
So today's the 13th of January. The album drops on the 17th. Like I said, the album will be out when this comes out. How long has this been ready for? Has this been a long
Man.
process, or?
Yes. I started writing this record in, I want to say November of 2022.
Okay.
So it feels very like I'm still processing that it's even finally coming out. Yeah. Yeah.
And what does that feel, like? Are you nervous for it to enter the world and be available to everyone?
Yeah, I always feel like, these songs are not going to belong to just me anymore. And that's kind of scary, but also really beautiful.
Yeah.
So I always tell myself they're going to go where they need to go. And I'm very curious to see where that ends up. And it also, I think there's this strange feeling too of like these songs were written, by 2 years ago me. And like me now is already like, I feel like in a different energy. So it's so interesting to be releasing these songs that will be new for other people, but for me it's like, oh, that I'm already 2 years away from that,
Right.
so it's such an interesting feeling, but ultimately very exciting.
I don't think I really thought about that before. That is interesting. Like, that
Yeah.
was 2 years ago. That was you're I mean, we're a different person a year removed from different
Oh
things.
yeah.
That's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I still want to honor that 2 year ago version of myself, who wrote those songs and felt those things very, very deeply. And it's always strange because I feel like the things I was experiencing then, I'm like healed through and can see in a different perspective. So I really just for like the sake of it want to put out a song like a week after I write it just to see what that feels like, right? I've never
Yeah.
done that. Things always end up taking so much time to come out. So,
Well, you could. I mean, that's the joy of the internet these
I
days.
know, I know. But I definitely, I was just saying on another thing that like I'm such an album person. Like I love albums. And so I
Same.
want to make sure that, I do that with the right body of work to follow it up. But as like a test, it would just be cool because I've never done that. Like, yeah, I've never put out a song like immediately. So, or if I have, I just I can't remember.
Right.
hmm
It's cool that you like, albums and you probably wrote this, I would imagine, maybe you didn't, but like in a way that it kind of flows like the way it
Yeah.
should. Because I
Yep.
mean, I grew up with albums too. Like
hmm
I still love that. I'm obviously like I like the new age where, people can drop singles every 6 weeks or whatever it might be, because I feel like you get more from your favorite artists on a more regular basis
Yeah.
as opposed to waiting 2 years for the stuff. But
Yeah.
I mean, there's something to be said about an album that's written in a way that kind of, has a start and finish.
Yeah, that's just my thing. Like, I just am such an album person. And I've had so many people over the years be like, you shouldn't do that. The albums are dying. But it's like, I don't care about that. I care about making art that makes you feel something,
Right.
And like, not to say that you can't do that with singles because you can, but I'm just like, for me, that, it's art first. And,
Mhm.
and maybe that's, I don't know, maybe somebody would laugh at that, but I just believe so much in the art that it's like it needs to be digested as a whole and as a body of work. And it doesn't mean that singles don't serve a beautiful purpose, but if I had it my way, like I wouldn't even do like a singles rollout. You would just get the full album because I'm like, yo, I want you to hear it from start to finish on the first day.
Yeah.
But I've had some really good perspective from my fans because we talk about it a lot in the Discord, and they were saying like, we love being able to get these, bite-sized pieces from you. So I can see both sides, but like I love an album drop in full so you can
Yeah.
just really process it. hmm
I mean, so many of my like, core memories are tied to like when albums came out and like listening
hmm
to start to finish and just applying certain songs to certain parts of my life. And I really enjoy that aspect of it. So I'm glad as someone your age too is still embracing the the full length
Oh
album.
yeah. Oh yeah, I will never stop being a full-length album girly. Like I know so many people are like, just drop singles. And I'm like, I can't do it. I Even another friend of mine who's my age, we had a call earlier today talking about how we just love concept albums and bodies of work. So I will die on that hill.
I'll be there
Albums
with you.
forever.
I'll be
Thank
there with
you.
you.
Yes.
But I mean, you do have a few songs that have been released from this upcoming album. What has the reception of those been so far?
They've been so good. I have the coolest fan base. I'm so grateful. I mean, everyone has been like, I really think I've only maybe gotten like two hate comments. I always say I only have, at least that I know of, four known haters. And like, I'm too sensitive for more. So if you guys hate my project, just don't tell me. But it's been great. The response is great. All of my fans that have been following my journey from the beginning till now, they accepted the shift in genre with open arms. I've just been given nothing but support, and I'm always prepared for people to say maybe they don't like it, which is okay. But right now, I feel very, very supported and very loved with all of the singles that have come out. It's been a really, really cool to see how it's received.
You mentioned a different genre. Like, talk about that because I did notice I did notice that note.
hmm
Leaving the world of dance music.
hmm
Um, what kind of led to that, and how has that maybe been a challenge for you, or maybe it's been something else?
Yeah, so I've always said that I feel like the heart of Echoes was alternative electronic. So it wasn't fully EDM. We always had, elements of alternative, elements of rock music throughout my previous albums. And this record just came to be because I sat in on a session with my friend's band. They're called Gold Souls. I love them. To write for them. And they were like, hey, you should sing on a song with us. And we did that. And we were all kind of like, whoa, this fun. We should do this more often. And we started doing that every week. And we were like, hey, I think we have a Echoes record. So it was just very organic and natural how it came together. And I'd always kind of known I wanted to make more of an alternative record. So I feel like maybe past me manifested that in a way. And then it just really, I think when things come together organically and flow seamlessly, there's a reason. And so I just kind of followed that. And now we have Quiet in Your Service. It was like truly one of the most fun experiences I've ever had making music.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason, and I think that like when it happens naturally like that, like you said, it's meant it means something.
Yeah, I feel like, in anything, when it just flows, like there's a future you version that has already done it, right? And so, like, flow is you following that path. Like, there's this other you on the end of the string that's done it, and you're following those feelings because you're like, and it's so easy because you've already done it, which, does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's also interesting to think about it that way.
Yeah, that's how I like to look at things. And so, and if it's not that, it's because future you is maybe, doing something else and you're being redirected. So I feel like this whole record just felt like flow and seamless flow. And I just followed that and kind of let the songs write themselves.
Yeah. And what kind of
Mhm.
ride are you looking to take your listeners on with this new album?
I want it to feel like you can process whatever it is that you're going through and feel like you're not alone in that journey when you're listening from start to finish. It feels the record to me, in my perspective, when you first start, it kind of feels like a stomach ache, and then the stomach ache subsides as the songs kind of take you through the uh, the storytelling and the journey. And by the last one, it kind of just feels like a huge like deep breath after a good cry, with the outro song being Tolerance. So I just kind of feel like it's an emotional journey that you can process while listening to it.
Now, I've had the honor to hear the album, and I have a few of my favorites. And I know sometimes artists don't want to talk about what songs mean because they want to leave it open to interpretation for the listeners.
Yeah.
But I'm going to name three songs, and then if you want to pick one to talk about, you don't have to, but
Okay.
it's up to you.
Yeah.
But I really liked Bruises,
Mm.
Over and Over, and then Quiet in Your Service.
Thank you. Yeah, it's hard for me to pick a favorite because I feel so connected to all of them,
Sure.
obviously. But yeah, I feel like Quiet in Your Service, I'll talk about that one since that's the title track. Again, it is about like realizing that you're making yourself small in service of another person. And for me, it was, a really toxic relationship. And the line, can't you see through the bloodbaths you bring? It's like, can't you see through all of this anger and this pain you're causing me, can't you see through that? And I'm just remaining small in service of trying to make sure that you don't leave me. And it was this like, I think writing that song really was this turning point for me of like, man, I don't want to do that anymore in anything in my life. So it felt kind of like a empowering anthem for me to finally like choose myself for the first time.
Yeah, that's cool.
Thank you.
Now, album comes out in a few days.
Yeah.
What's in store for you?
Oh,
Post release.
well, we are in the process of changing my album release show to be a benefit show for all of the wildfires in Los Angeles. So that is something that I should have more details on, hopefully by the time this comes out. So I wish that I had like a date so I could promote it, but I'll give all of that to you hopefully over the next couple of days.
Okay.
So we'll be putting a lot of our time and energy and effort into that. And then my goal for the rest of the year is to be touring this record. Because when we made this record, we had it with performing it live in mind because we want you to feel like you can enter this Echoes world and, leave any of your pain behind while experiencing this record live.
Okay. So some tour dates, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
What can people expect from an Echo show? Have they ever
Definitely.
seen you live before?
Oh, definitely a lot of feelings. I feel like performing live is a very, very emotional, cathartic experience for me. So I think it's, a safe space to just really process your emotions. Obviously, I'm singing about some pretty heavy stuff, and I feel like being in that energy exchange is just really beautiful. And my fan base is so welcoming and loving and supportive, and such a cool community. So I feel like coming to an Echo show, also, you feel like there's community and you're not alone. I know I keep touching on that, but that's been like the core of Echoes. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who were some of your influences?
Oh, I have a lot of them. I'd say like my biggest ones, Daughter, favorite band of all time. And Evanescence has always been a vocal inspiration for me since I was a wee lad. Um, and I have also I listened to a lot of country music growing up, which I know people will be like, really? Like
Yeah.
that was what inspired you? But yeah, I grew up listening to lots of Alison Krauss, honestly, on the vocal end, and lots of Enya. So I feel like there's a mix of that sprinkled throughout the core of Echoes.
I always love asking that question because you always get these, I don't want to say bizarre, but just like off the wall
Yeah.
answers. Like I'll like interview like a lot of metal bands and like I'll ask them the same
Yeah.
question and it's like they like listen to classical music. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I know. It's kind of funny. People are like, how did you get that? Like, I mean, I'm sure nobody listens to Echoes and thinks of country music, or maybe
Right.
they do. I don't know. But yeah,
I
listening
didn't.
to a lot. Yeah, a lot of that. But yeah, I mean, one of the biggest obvious ones is, Evanescence, Amy Lee, huge inspiration. I think I was, what, 8, 9 when I heard her sing for the first time and blew my mind. So.
And when did you know that you wanted to like be a musician?
So I literally told everyone in my life when I was 5 that I was going to grow up and be a singer. So I've just always known, to touch on the like, you come here with a mission. I guess my little soul knew at 5. And I started writing songs when I was 9 in my journal. And then started my first little band in high school when I was 14 and just kind of went from there. I just always knew this was what I wanted to do with my life.
Now, did you have people telling you to, oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Okay.
Oh
So
yeah.
this is a dream.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yes.
Have a backup plan.
Yeah, at the backup plan. But I was so adamant. Like people would be like, what are you going to do as your backup plan? And I would be like, I don't have one. But I feel like that mentality, kind of got me to where I'm at now. So I'm grateful for past me for kind of telling everyone to, F off.
Yeah.
You just have to, you got to believe in yourself to like a delusional point. That's what I tell everyone. I'm like, even now, I'm still not anywhere near where I want to be, but I have this like delusion that I can get there. And you just can't let other people tell you no. Cause you get told no throughout your whole career, everyone's like, no, you can't do this no matter what level you're at. Right. So I just have this, this unwavering delusion and belief in myself that it's going to work out.
Well, they say that if you have a backup plan, like I forget what the saying is, but if you have a backup plan, like you're already doubting yourself, you're already like,
Yeah, I think and there's no like wrong way to do it. Like you can still do something with a backup plan. I think people always say have a backup plan out of love, right? Because they don't want you to fail. And that's
right.
where it comes from. So if you can look at it from that and know that that's, someone's perspective is just wanting you to be okay, and you can see it from that way versus them not believing in you, which maybe it is that, but it's usually a reflection of the person who's saying it. Most people that tell you that you can't do a thing is because they wish they could do it too.
Yeah, they played it safe their entire lives, and yeah.
And there's times where like, I look at people that have played it safe and that works out for them. They're super happy.
For sure.
Like, choosing the path of following your dreams is not going to be easy. It's exhausting. You have to be okay with like really not being okay for a long time. And then one day you get a call and it's like, hey, it's working. So yeah, I don't know. I tend to have like, even though I'm a very like, I don't know, kind of brooding person, I tend to have a pretty positive outlook on life. And I don't know. I just think that it's going to work out, and it does.
You got to believe.
Yep.
You got to believe.
Yeah.
What do you do for fun when you're not, working on music?
Oh, this is the hardest question. I've had to like ask my friends about this. I'm like, guys, what do I do for fun? My new thing is I like to go thrifting for weird trinkets.
Okay.
And that I do that for fun. Maybe I need to, pick up some more hobbies because I don't really have a lot, because music is like all I'm thinking about all the time. And that's the fun thing. But I'm trying to enrich my life outside of music. So hiking and thrifting, those are some things I like to do.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I have one more question for you, and it's kind of like off the wall one.
I'm ready for it.
I always get not the same answer, but it's a. I'll just ask it. So there's an asteroid coming to Earth, right?
Okay. Yeah.
You know, there's no Bruce Willis to save you. Will Smith isn't going to save you.
Okay.
The world is going to end. There's no doubts about it.
Okay.
You have 3 days left. What are you doing in those 3 days?
Oh man. Okay. These are going to be some strange answers. I foresee I foresee myself getting so stressed out that I would just drink the Kool-Aid on day one.
Just end it?
I'd be like, fuck this. I'd be like, I'm good. But if I were to be thinking from my like, really positive side, what I would probably spend 3 days, like, would I be alone or would I be able to see all the people that I love?
See, that's the generic answer everyone says. Like, yeah, I would make sure. It's up to you. I mean, you're there. Hard. It's a tough question, but it's something like, you look back on your life and it's like, did I do all the things I wanted to do? Like, for me, I would want to try drugs.
Yeah,
just because I never got into that kind of stuff. So I would just want to try it.
Just to try it because you have 3 days left.
Yeah.
I would not, I probably wouldn't do that, but I support you in your 3 days of grace. I don't know what I would do. I think I would probably, knowing me, I would be so stressed out if someone was like, here's some Kool-Aid. Maybe, or I would maybe try to like do something to calm myself down. Maybe I would just accept it. And then I would like sing, probably meditate. I would probably get all of the people that I love to meet me in a meadow somewhere, and we would hold hands, we would sing. And if we could, bake something together, and then God, I'm thinking of the like impending doom on the third day. Maybe we'd all just like hold each other so we die at the same time. That's terrifying.
It's a weird question.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I would try to get everybody that I love together, and we would like meditate and sing and try to just like, do that. Yeah. But if I was like super stressed, I'd be like, Kool-Aid, let's go.
Yeah.
So it depends on the mood.
I hope that we never have to experience that. Cause I mean, I have 2 young children, and I don't know what I would think if that was actually happening. I just, hopefully it's instant.
Yeah.
If it ever happens, I hope it's just instant. You don't even know it.
Yeah. Same. There's like a little movie, like a short that I used to love, and it was about this. And it was like this girl and this guy, I think they like meet on the street, and they have like 2 days until the world ends or something. And it was I can't remember the name of it, but it was something on Vimeo that I saw in high school, and it was really poetic. And it was just make sure that whoever's around you is also like very loving, and you can just, not be alone. But I think I would want everyone I love to be in the same room for sure. Yeah. I don't really have any like crazy last wishes. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, that's a good question. Now I'm going to think about that for like the next hour, probably in depth, and be like, fuck, what would I do?
Yeah. And it's like, well, I mean, how much time do you have? And it's like, it's not like you can just like teleport somewhere, it's like you're limited to where you are.
You got to give the parameters in the question. Are you alone? Can you, do you have secret powers? Can you like, what can, I think
I'll add to it next time.
Yeah.
All right. That's a good idea. It's a good idea. Yeah. You could travel anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Oh, see, or would I be able to fly? Like, do I just all of a sudden get superpowers or something at this end of the world? Cause I would want to fly. That would be sick as fuck.
That would be sick. All right. Well, I'll open the floor to you. Just anything that you want to say to fans, to people who've never heard you before, anything about Echoes, and then I'll wrap it up and let you go.
Yeah. I guess my biggest thing is just so grateful to the fans who've been supporting me for 12 years now. Being able to do this is like the coolest job in the world. And I don't ever take it for granted. I wake up grateful every day that people for some reason want to listen to my diary. So thank you all for being here. And if you're new, I hope that you can find a space within this community. It's so beautiful and loving, and everybody in the Echoes community is just amazing. It feels like a huge family. So very, very happy that you're here and this found you. And yeah, and anything that you're going through right now, you don't have to go through it alone. And I think my music can be a space for people to be reminded of that.
Very cool. Well, Quiet in Your Service is out now. One thing you mentioned before about it being art, you have vinyl and it's available in blood red. That's pretty cool.
Yes. Thank you. I'm stoked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So go stream it. Go a website people can buy that on.
Yes, it is on all of my socials as echoesmusic.band. And cool. I am double checking that. Yes, it is. Echoesmusic.band is where you can find all of my merch, my vinyl, all of my show dates, everything. Follow me on there.
Cool. Well, Alexandra of Echoes, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate your time, and I wish you the best of luck with everything.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I hope you get back to home, I guess.
Me too. Yeah. Thank you.
So, all right. Take care.
You too. Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.